So the deck build pack Justice Hunters has been out in the OCG for some time now, and it's going pretty much as you expected. Yummy is slowly taking over. Dragon Tail is creeping up behind it as a solid fusion archetype, while K9, let's talk about it. What's up guys, welcome back to the channel, and welcome if you're new here. I'm Don, and today we're taking a look at the third archetype in the Justice Hunter deck build pack, K9. Let's get into it. Before going any further, let's have a brief introduction of the cards and the archetype. So you can pretty much sum this up as a level 5 archetype that goes into rank 5s, and they have the ability to rank up into their rank 9. The main deck can further be split into two categories: a set of monsters that pretty much hate hand traps and graveyard effects by monsters, and a set of monsters or extenders that block you from XC summoning light monsters. So let's start off the hand trap haters. We have Izuna, which if your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand or graveyard this turn, quick effect during the main phase, you can special summon this card from your hand. If it's normal special summon, you can send a K9 card from your deck to the graveyard. The second hand trap hater would be Lupus, which holds the same effect. However, though, it can special summon itself from the graveyard as well. You do banish it if it leaves the field though, but you know, once it's Xyz materials, it's not leaving the field, so it heads back to the graveyard. While it's on the field during your opponent's turn, it has the quick effect to Xyz summon using monsters you control and itself, and any Xyz monster that has it as a material cannot be targeted by your opponent's card effect. Now for the extenders, we have our Jackal, which while it's in the hand, you can reveal it and a level 5 monster in your hand, special summon both, and they cannot be used as Xyz material for a light monster. During your main phase, you can add a non-aqua K9 monster from your deck to your hand. And for the second extender, we have our Lantern, which while it's in the hand, you can target a non-pyro level 5 K9 monster in your graveyard, special summon both it and this card, and then they cannot be used as Xyz materials for light monsters. During your main phase, you can add a K9 spell or trap card from your deck to your hand. As for the extra deck monsters, we have our first rank 5, which is Ripper, which while on the field, you can detach a material, add a K9 card from your deck to your hand, and if your opponent activated a monster that turn, you can set a K9 quick play spell from your deck or graveyard to the field. Also, if your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand or grave, you can detach a material and negate that card's effect. The second rank 5 would be your Hound. It cannot be destroyed by a battle or your opponent's card effect the turn that it was special summon. Each time your opponent activates a monster effect, this card gains 500 attack when it resolves, and once per turn during the standby phase, you can detach a material from this card, target a card on the field, banish it. And now for our rank 9, which is X-Werewolf. While this card has material, it can attack a number of times up to the number of material that it has. So if it has 2 materials, it can attack 2 times pretty much. Its next effect is whenever your opponent activates a card or effect, you can detach a material from this card. Depending on the player's turn, you get the effect associated. If it's your turn, you can banish a card your opponent controls and one in their graveyard. If it's your opponent's turn, you can look at your opponent's hand and then banish 1 card from their hand face up until the end phase. Now for the spells and trap, let's go for the quick play spells first. The first one will be LC Liberation. You can target a K9 Xyz monster or a rank 5 monster you control, special summon a K9 monster from your extra deck with a different name, and it's pretty much an Xyz summon. You transfer the materials to it. It also has the second effect that at the end of the battle phase, if your K9 monster battle this turn, you can set it from the graveyard. The next quick play would be X-Force Liberation. During the main phase, you can target a K9 Xyz monster you control, special summon from your extra deck a K9 Xyz monster with a different name. So it's treated as an Xyz summon, and also you can destroy a card on your opponent's field. Similar to the first spell, at the end of the battle phase, it can set itself if a K9 monster battle its turn. Where the last spell is our continuous spell. In case of K9 and activation, you add a K9 monster from your deck to your hand. Then K9 monsters you control gains 900 attack the turn that your opponent activates a monster effect in the hand or grave. Also, if it's destroyed while in the spell and trap zone, you can set a K9 quick play spell from your deck or graveyard. Now for the only trap in the archetype, we have our Experimental Liberation, which special summon a K9 monster from your hand or grave, then you can Xyz summon using that monster. It's also treated as an Xyz summon, but you have to destroy it during the end phase of your next turn. During the end phase, while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it from the grave, then target a K9 quick play spell, and then set it from your grave to the field. So that's it for the archetype. So yeah, they pretty much lock you out of the light Xyz monsters. Those are usually the degenerate rank 5s, to be honest. Like the Dice, well, the Chromalie is pretty fair. It's a monster negate, and it can boost any monster on the field. However though, like the interesting aspect of rank 5s are the 7 cards, and that will be our Nash Knight or Chaos Nash Knight, the Horror Masquerade, Silent Honor Dark, and if you're playing 7 Tachyon, it's pretty much a given. Like they're the targets that you pretty much use for your deck, because Honor Dark is water aqua, and the only thing you care about is the aqua aspect. It can add you the Jackal, and Horror Masquerade is dark. You can add any one of your other extenders. So yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, so we'll start off by showing the turn 0 combo basically. So we'll have to go to our opponent's turn so that they can activate a monster effect in the hand or the grave. So our Izuna would be able to trigger. So the opponent activated a monster effect to summon, and now in the main phase we say Izuna. Izuna is going to summon to the field, and on the field she's going to send a canine card from the deck to the grave, which that card would be Lupus. And immediately right here, you should be able to activate Lupus' effect to special summon to the field, and then use its quick effect to XD summon. However, though, I wasn't able to do that right here for some reason. It must have been a bug. But if you're going against like the mirror and you let them do this, then they can just negate the Lupus. So while in the field, you can go quick effect Lupus, go into Nash Knight. You can always go into something like the Chromanally. However, if you go into a Nash Knight, you're removing a body. So that's way better than the Chromanally, because once you get that negate, like the next turn, it's pretty much dead. Whereas if you use the Nash Knight the next turn, you can use Nash Knight again, or you can go into Chaos Nash Knight, which is going to summon any one of your 101 or whatever. So you can go into Chaos Nash Knight and then go into like Honor Dark, and then Honor Dark is going to detach and then steal another card, to be honest. And then if you have any one of your, rank up liberations, you can just turn that Chaos monster into one of your canine monsters, all off turn 0 combo. Alright, so generally speaking, any level 5 monster and an extender pretty much gets you to your full combo. So let's say you open something like Trickstar, Korobane, or even Diablaster with like overlay booster, then you're pretty much off to the races. Because all you're going to do is Korobane, and overlay booster is going to be able to summon once you have a monster with 2000 or more attack, which luckily all of your canine monsters in the main deck have 2000 or more attack, and Korobane also has 2000 attack. Then you're going to make a Ripper. You're going to detach to add the Jackal. You're always going to go for Jackal. It's like the best starter, because once you can normal summon a Jackal, you can add something like a Izuna for like the next turn, or a Lantern if you have something like a Canine in the grave. Right here, because we don't have like a canine in the grave to extend, we didn't add the Lantern, so we went like Jackal, adding the Izuna, and then in our opponent's turn, once they activate a monster effect in the hand or the graveyard, we have a negate with the Ripper, and we have the Izuna that is live that's going to summon, and then send the Lupus, which is going to special summon itself, and then you're going to pretty much make a rank 5 with that. As I said, you're always intending to go into Nash Knight. However, you can make any one of the other ones, seeing that Lupus doesn't really stop you from going into any form of rank 5s, and seeing that you normal summon your Jackal, it's not stopping you from using it as material to go into a rank 5 monster. Alright, so for this combo, we're actually starting off with a canine monster along with an extender, and you have two ways to do this. You can start off with the Korobane and then normal summon the Jackal, or you can use Jackal's effect to special summon both, seeing that your main plan is to go into the Ripper. However, we're just going to use Korobane's effect. So right here now, Jackal is going to add the Lantern, because we're going to make a rank 5 and then detaching the Jackal. And so the Lantern has a target in the grave to special summon. So we made the Ripper. We're going to detach the Jackal, add in an Izuna. Then we're going to use Lantern, targeting the Jackal to special summon. Then we use the Lantern, add in the X-Force. You're usually always going for X-Force because you want the pop. So after you use this effect to negate, you're just going to use this to get the pop. And then you make the Nash Knight. So if we didn't use our normal summon, we could have normal summoned the Izuna here, send in whatever, it's just additional options. All right, so let's say we didn't use our normal summon. Right here, we could have just normal summoned the Izuna, send in the Lupus. Instead of making the Nash Knight, we would have made like the Imperial Princess, and seeing that the level 5 would be in the grave that the Izuna would send, we can just detach from the Imperial Princess, special summon in that level 5, and then make another rank 5 with the Izuna and the Lupus. If you've made it this far into the video, remember to leave a like if you found it insightful. And if you're interested in seeing more videos from us, you can check out our channel. And if you want to see more videos from us in the future, you can subscribe to the channel. Alright, so this combo will utilize Izuna with an extender. It could be overlay booster as well, or even a Diablaster, but Korobane is just fine. So we summon Korobane, then we normal summon our Izuna. And seeing that you're going first, the card that you'll be sending would be most likely the Jackal, and you'll see why. You send the Jackal, then you make the Ripper. Let's say your opponent's like use an Ash or something here. When you use the effect of Ripper to add, you're just going to negate that, and seeing that it activated a monster effect, you get the bonus effect of setting a K9 replace spell. So we added the Lantern, and that's the reason why we send the Jackal, because we're going to use Lantern to special summon the Jackal to the field. And now that we have both Jackal and the Lantern in the field, we're able to add a K9 monster and a K9 spell or trap. So we'll be adding an Izuna for the opponent's turn. And then we'll be adding the LC Liberation to turn any one of the rank 5s that we'll be making now into a K9 Xyz, which would be most likely our Ripper, because we already used it to negate this turn, so we have no materials. So once we make it to our opponent's turn, we make another one that has material, we can negate again. So we're going to go into Nash Knight, and seeing that we're pretty much done with the Ripper, we're going to use Nash Knight's effect. Detaching 2, attaching the Masquerade from the extra deck, and then also attaching the Ripper. Then we'll turn Nash Knight into Chaos Nash Knight, which has the effect to detach the material, special summon a number Xyz between 101 and 107, which will be detaching the Ripper to summon the Horror Masquerade, which it's important to attach the Masquerade because Horror Masquerade won't have its second effect unless you have Masquerade attached. So the first effect is that once you special summon, you can target a spell and trap on the field, destroy that card. And the second effect, that if it has Masquerade, is that once returned during either player's turn, when a monster effect is activated on your opponent's side of the field, you can detach a material from this card, negate the activation, then you can send a random card from your opponent's hand to the grave. And not just that, you also have your opponent's life points. So it just gets crazy the more you read the card. However though, during your opponent's next end phase, Chaos Nash Knight would destroy the monster that it summons, so that's why you added the LC Liberation, because you're going to turn the Masquerade into something like a Ripper once it uses negate. And it also works if your opponent like tries to like droplet you can just chain the Liberation and then turn the Masquerade into something like a Ripper, so the Ripper would get the droplet, and then you can just turn that Ripper into something like a Werewolf and then pop a card on the field and also have the Werewolf's effect, you know. So yeah, that'll be it for the video today, guys, and see you guys next time.